We're going to be factoring trinomials with a lead coefficient other than 1. In other words, we have a number out front. This requires a little more work than the trinomials whose lead coefficient is 1. There are several steps we have to follow. The first step is to take the lead coefficient and multiply it times the constant. Since this lead coefficient is called A, this middle term is called B, and this is called C. This is sometimes called the AC method because we multiply A times C to give us our product. So A times C gives me 2 times negative 5 gives me a negative 10. So this is the product we're looking for. We're looking for a sum of the middle number, which is 3. We know that when we have a negative product, we had to multiply a positive number times a negative number. So let's see what we can find. Positive 10 times negative 1 gives me negative 10 when I multiply. When I add 10 to negative 1, I do not get 3. Let's try a positive 5 times a negative 2. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. 5 plus negative 2 is 3. So these are our special numbers. However, we can't just simply plug them into the parentheses like we did in our other factoring. We have to use these special numbers to split this term into 2 separate terms. So what we're going to do is take our original trinomial and we're going to expand it into 4 terms by splitting up this middle term into 2 terms using the special numbers that we found over here. So 3x is going to expand into 5x minus 2x. We bring the first term down. Always have to put a sign in between. And we bring the last term down, and since there's a minus in front of it, we'll keep that here. Now I just expanded 1, 2, 3 terms into 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. The next step is called factoring by grouping because we group the first 2 terms together and we pull out the greatest common factor of the first 2 terms. The greatest common factor between these 2 terms is x. So I'm going to pull x out. I have to decide what goes in the parentheses now. To do that, I need to divide both terms by the GCF, which was x. 2x squared divided by x gives me 2x, because this x cancels one of these x's out. 5x divided by x is 5. The x's cancel. Now I need to group the last 2 terms and see what they have in common. The negative here tells me I need to pull out a negative greatest common factor. What do these have in common? Well, they have no common factor other than 1, so we have to use 1. So I'm going to have to divide both of these terms by the greatest common factor, which is negative 1. So negative 2x divided by negative 1 gives me 2x. Negative 5 divided by negative 1 gives me positive 5. Now if you notice, the parentheses match each other, that becomes one of my factors. 2x plus 5. Whatever's left over outside the parentheses goes in my other set of parentheses, and that is my last factor. I can FOIL this to check it out. Two x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. I have like terms that can go together. Negative 2 and positive 5 gives me 3x minus 5. And this checks out with my original polynomial. Several steps there. You'll want to practice that.